Alright, more Slay the Spire. Today we're going to do Ironclad. So I'm going to talk a little about what I understand about Ironclad, and then we're going to try an A17 run, and I'm going to lose quickly because I'm not good with the Ironclad. So, we should not be thinking in terms of archetypes. We should know where generally powerful synergies are, but we should be willing to use tools that connect to the synergies we have. So, for example, Meditate. Where's Meditate? Going back to the Watcher, a character I'm good with, better with. Meditate is a card that fits well with hopping between Calm and Wrath. It's a card that puts you into Calm, that's very useful. You can pull another card from your discard pile back so you can get access to it more. So if you only have one source of Wrath, you can get that source going a lot more often. It is a powerful card for stance dance type play. But if you have this, then suddenly establishment is pretty desirable because Meditate retains a card, meaning it stays in your hand instead of being discarded for a turn, and that will reduce its cost by one for the entire combat. Now, let's say you took Establishment and you see Master Reality, um, or you've taken Establishment and you see, let's say, Carve Reality. Carve Reality is a better example. Where's Carve Reality at? Is that an uncommon? I don't know rarities. Okay, you see Carve Reality or Battle Him, and suddenly you have something that makes a smite, but if you wait a turn, because that smite retains, its cost goes to zero. Or Battle Him makes a whole set of smites that's cost goes to zero. So suddenly maybe you wouldn't have taken Battle Him or Carve Reality, but you got Meditate, so you took Establishment, so you took Battle Him or Carve Reality. It depends on your deck, of course, whether you can sustain this. Now, maybe you see Master Reality, and suddenly you're creating a lot of cards and upgrading all of them with a real upside. And suddenly you're in a deck that has a lot of the retain form, but you still at your core are doing stance hopping stuff. You just got cards that gave you little hints to go in other directions. So you're not doing a full on retain deck. The full on retain deck is just not very good, but you're doing a deck that has retained tools to do stuff that's really useful to do. Um, and maybe at some point in there you get I don't know, Deceive Reality, which now you take because that safety is just going to stick in your hand and be really cheap. And that gives you maybe a block source, and Watcher really needs some way to block, and maybe that ends up being your answer for blocking for that run. So when I say archetype, I don't mean we should be forcing that and only that, but it is a tool from which we can draw other things. So my most successful archetype is one that is widely known to be bad. It is Perfected Strike. Perfected Strike, 6 damage for 2 mana is terrible, but it does 2 additional damage for all your cards containing Strike, meaning if you have, say, 5 strikes in the deck, I don't know if this is included. I think this is included. So say you have 4 strikes plus this, that's 5 cards, suddenly it's 16 for 2. With no debuff. Like Clothesline is 12 for 2 and applies 2 weak. Um, and there's some other cards of that ilk that kind of do like Uppercut. Where's Uppercut? Uppercut is 13 damage for 2 and applies some debuff. Heavy Blade is 14 but can be upgraded. So, point is, 16 for 2 might sound like good returns. It's not great. But if we start adding a bunch of cards with Strike in the name, like Pommel Strike, which is a perfectly good card to use, or Twin Strike, which is alright, or Wild Strike, which has its downside, but you can get, without too much trouble, like 30 damage for 2 mana, which is really good at clearing fights for a while and doesn't scale that well into the late game. But this is actually how I beat whatever I'm on A17, I think. I think this is how I beat A16, was a Perfected Strike deck. But it wasn't a pure Perfected Strike deck. Another really important synergy we have is Strength. We have things that can up Strength. Strength ups the damage to all our attacks. Now that plays best with multi-hitting moves. So Sword Boomer, say you have Cleave, 8 damage to all. If you up your strength by 5, that's 13 damage to all. Or say Pommel Strike, 9 damage goes to 14. Fine, whatever. Sword Boomerang, this 3 damage goes to 8. So right now it's 3 times 3, it's 9. Then it would be 8 times 3, it's 24. Damage scales way better with strength, the more hits you have. So Heavy Blade also gets a bonus from strength jumps, but Sword Boomerang plays really well. Twin Strike plays quite well. There's a bunch of cards that gain a lot of value the more we can do this. And the ways to get this going are cards like Inflame is a natural way, gain 2 strength. Um, Spot Weakness often gains you 3 strength, though not always as useful. Here's Uppercut, by the way. I mentioned that earlier. Limit Break doubles your strength. Now, you don't want to draw this before you've drawn anything to up your strength, because your strength at the start is +0, and this doubles how much you've increased it. So there's a strength deck, but the strength often you want to combine with other themes. I find like you often have sort of major themes and sub themes, and then just cards that are good to take that don't get in the way. There are decks where Shrug It Off will play better and it will play worse, but it's just like it's a pretty good card. 8 block and draw a card is just pretty good return for 1 mana, and a lot of decks will use it whether or not it happens to fit a theme. Another theme is block. Body Slam deals damage equal to your block, and there's a card, I think at uncommon maybe? I don't know what rarities are. Entrench, yep, doubles your block. And then I think at rare, there is Barricade, don't lose block from turn to turn, so you can build up just massive amounts of block, and then at the end, you hopefully body slam them for just crazy damage. I've never got this one working, but it is a theme you can have. Another fun theme you can have is a bunch of cards do cost to you. They shuffle a wound into your deck, or there's a card Power Through that puts 2 wounds into your hand. But if you have a card like Fire Breathing, every time you draw these cards, you can get a payoff or evolve. So there's a deck, or you could try to make a deck where you have cards like Fire Breathing and Evolve, and then you have lots of cards like Power Through that are really powerful. 15 block for 1 mana is insane, but have this downside, but suddenly in this deck, that downside is not so much of a downside, it might even be a benefit, and where a lot of your damage and card draw are coming from. So I think that's another interesting way to go. I'm sure there's stuff I'm missing. You could probably build around Rampage, but I've never done so. The main synergy, however, is Exhaust. And there are some cards that give you payoff for exhausting. For instance, Feel No Pain is kind of a block solution if you're exhausting a lot of cards. But Exhaust is inherently good because Exhaust thins your deck. So another card that plays well with Exhaust is Dropkick, a not particularly notable card, but one that replaces itself in, you wouldn't think necessarily, but one that replaces itself in both cards and in mana if they have Vulnerable. So if we can apply Vulnerable, this card replaces itself. And if we have exhausted our entire deck, such that when we use this we have no cards in deck, we will draw this again and again, and we will go infinite. So that can be a powerful way to play off exhausting, but it can also just be like, if you start exhausting all your cards, and you have things like Dark Embrace or Feel No Pain getting some payoff, but you also might just leave yourself with only your absolute best cards left, and even if that's not an infinite, those could be really powerful things. And so the primary synergy is Exhaust, but I don't think I'm very good at this. And I don't think I understand it very well. So let's do an example and we'll see how we do, because I'm hoping to do these videos in part to figure out how to think about these things better by talking it out. And I really liked how I did on the last video, the one I did with Watcher. I know I've done 4 videos of Watcher, so probably, I mean, I haven't put any of them up yet, but probably that one got the least, like, views or attention if any of them did. But I think I did my by far best analysis on that one, and I'm hoping to keep that going. Alright. Obtain a random rare card is much worse than get a choice of it, but I think Ironclad rares are pretty good. 3 random potions, we only have 2 potion slots, hard to benefit that much. 250 gold, we really don't want to take on a curse. And also, I don't know how much Ironclad gets from gold. I mean, everyone gets some. Or we could trade our relic. I quite like healing. I'm going to try to obtain the rare card. I have no idea what the right choice is here. I've done a lot more work thinking about and watching stuff about Watcher, and so we're sort of experimenting. Fiendfire, fantastic card. Um, Exhaust your hand, deal 7 damage for each card exhausted. If we upgrade this, it's 10 for each thing. So imagine we draw a normal hand of 5 cards, and it's one of the cards. We could play it and do 40 damage. 40 damage in a turn is just a ton of damage early game. Um, can pretty reliably pick something off, or we could do something else for 1 mana and do 30 damage with it. Or if it's not upgraded, do 21, which will still often be enough to pick something off or do a really useful chunk of damage. Fiendfire is very good, and very glad to have it. And it can also exhaust cards, which can get rid of bad cards and get us to our good cards. And if we get stuff that lets us have bigger hands, suddenly you can have it just go off for insane amounts of damage. Imagine we put vulnerable on a target, so they take 50% more. Imagine it's upgraded, so it's 10 each. And imagine we have a hand of like 8 cards where it's one of the 8 cards. Suddenly it's doing 70 times 1.5, it's doing 105. And you can just get these really high damage totals. Watcher has access to kind of more damage through Wrath and through Divinity than any other class. But so we're not going to be like equaling the expectations of Watcher. But this is quite a lot to work with. This is a very nice start. Okay, happy about that. Let's look at the elites. We can take 3 if we go firmly left, and we can back out to take 2, though we have to back out before we've taken the second one. If we go on the right, we can get 2, but with a very specific path. So I'd like to go left. I'd like 3 or fewer battles before the first elite, so I think we're going to start left, go question mark, battle, battle, that's our third, campfire, into elite, and hopefully we can grab 3. I'm not going to go for the heart, I'm just trying to upgrade my ascension level. So we are not going to be trying to take shiny elites. Okay, so we can already do 28 damage. We could also hit with a strike and then do 21, but that is less damage total. I don't think we have more damage than this. We don't need to defend. There's no reason we want to draw any of these cards later. So we're just going to do 28 here. And that's obviously a much better turn than 3 strikes would have done. Like 3 strikes is our normal max damage, as we can see here. And 3 strikes is 18. That was 28. I'm going to defend here. First of all, we're going to draw bash and an attack, almost certain, or very likely to draw bash and an attack. Look what's left in our deck. It's only strikes and bash and defend. So we're going to draw enough attacks to finish them. I don't want to take extra damage here. Taking a couple damage a turn when you're Ironclad or a match is completely fine because you heal the 6 back afterward. It would be nice to get to full HP here, but it's not a big deal. Okay. So Sever Soul is the exhaust card here. But 16 for 2 is not something I'm that excited about. I don't think this is a great card. It might be better than I think, but I don't think it's a super high priority. Clash is pretty bad. You have to do a lot of work to get it to land, and at that point, it's just more work than it's worth. We're going to need to have a lot of blocking cards in the deck. Anger is good. One thing I have found really helpful has been, because playing the Watcher, I'm really used to keep the deck thin, don't take cards, try to remove 2 defense. With other characters, that's really not how you think. And sort of my initial game plan on Ironclad is something like take 2 or 3 nice attacking cards to make sure I have a chance to take out elites, give myself play against them. Try to get 2 or 3 premium defensive cards. If we see any, we'll talk about those. And then 2 or 3 more good attacking cards. And you're happy to get up to like 18 cards at the end of Act 1, or at least I am. And so I'm really looking for attacks that will get me extra damage, and Anger is very much one of those. 6 damage for 0 is nothing to sneeze at, and it puts more in your deck such that you'll keep having stuff to attack with. And it gives us extra stuff to exhaust as well, and we'll be exhausting stuff. So I think that's a very nice pickup, actually. I think this is a very good start relative to my normal. Okay, we're not taking keys, so we can just take stuff without thinking. Not that we would have thought too much anyway. This is a nice one. As you may have noticed if you watched my last video, I'm very bad at paying attention to when my relics are about to go off. Sometimes they do flash at you when they're about to go, but I often don't notice. And I don't do a good job planning about it, but Pen Nib, when you hover over your cards, it will show double damage, and that's great. Okay, so My understanding is most characters want to get rid of strikes. Watcher wants to get rid of defends because Watcher needs to be able to saturate attacks when they're in wrath. We really don't want to have a bunch of defends in hand when we're going into wrath because then we just can't go into wrath. It won't pay off and we lose these huge damage turns. Other characters, strikes are just not enough damage and defends are actually doing pretty decent work. I think we're supposed to remove a strike here. The reason I'm torn is because I still want to do well against Act 1 elites, and Act 1 elites often, the question they ask is, can you do damage? Sentries. Blocking is going to be a huge pain at length. You really got to get rid of one of them early, or 20 a turn every other turn is just a huge problem. We're not going to be able to deal with that, so we got to be able to get rid of one of them fast. Goblin Knob is just gonna buff every time you use any defense at all, so you basically got to rush him down with very minimal defense. Having defense really bad there. And against Lagavulin, you have some time to set up, and once you do, you really want to be doing damage. So I think for all the elites in Act 1, strikes are better than defense. But for everything else, I think defense are better. I think I'm supposed to get rid of a strike, but this means in my kind of thought process of I want to get 2 or 3 more attacks pretty quick, that's now more like 3 or 4. And we have 2 attacks I'm really happy about. Okay, so we've done 1 thing, so we need 2 more. But I just want to be kind of careful on that. Ooh, Ascender's Bane is a nice thing to burn to this. So this is 21 damage, so we could definitely throw out a defend or a strike, and then Fiend Fire the rest. Probably a defend, just so we don't take damage. And boop, boop, boop. 1 down. Maybe could have gone for this one just because it was threatening more. I went for the one with more HP. I guess we'll bash. We should think, what are we going to draw next turn? We are going to draw a lot of defense next turn. So we might not be able to use the bash, but I should still do it because if I strike, they'll curl up, and so double strike, the second block will be absorbed anyway. So I may as well do more damage. Yeah. We'll take 2 here, and we'll probably just block this turn. Oh, we do have anger. Oh, wow. Wait, why did I think... so we only had the defend, I think, in our draw pile. Maybe defend and anger, which was lethal, so I should have already known that. But we had defense in our discard pile, but obviously the cards we just played went to our discard pile, and we happened to draw them. Okay, so I miscalculated that a bit. Alright, Cleave is a card I think looks like it should be decent, but all the smart players say isn't, so they're probably right. Sentinel, I'm really not sure of. I've seen some divided opinion of this because this card confused me. It doesn't exhaust itself, but there are lots of cards that give you tools to exhaust. I don't think we want to be adding more defense to our deck. And it's not like it combos with Fiendfire, because if we use Fiendfire and get the energy from this, how do we use it? We just exhausted our whole hand. Ghostly Armor is a card I liked at first because I thought 10 block was pretty good for 1. If you don't play it, it discards, which is not the end of the world, but I think it's actually just not premium block. So I think it's actually, do we need the attack power of Cleave, or is this just a skip? And as a Watcher player, I always want to skip. I'm really not sure. I think maybe a good player takes Sentinel because they understand it better than me. I think for me it's between Cleave and Skip, even though I know Cleave's not very good. I'm going to skip this one, but I really want to take an attack on this next fight. If we don't get an attack here, it's going to be a much harder elite, probably. This is 28. So if we bash them, then we can't Fiend Fire. So I guess we just do the 28. We can't avoid taking damage. We could bash and strike, but that's just going to be 17, because strike will be 9. Let's just do 28. Fiend Fire is so good that it feels somehow bad when you can't one-shot something, which is the sign of an extremely powerful card. Compare it to any other card in our deck, right? Like, it's not like when I use a strike, I expect it to half-kill something. Okay. Searing Blow, I think, is not worth it. Rampage is also just not that good. Shrug It Off is the best card here, but I don't want my deck to be half armor right now. I think I'm going to take Shrug It Off because I just don't like the other two cards at all. But we are overweighting towards defense, and I really hope we get a generous boss. I think I'm going to take Elite. I think I'm going to take this plus. So this is a really useful upgrade to get just because making vulnerable last longer is so good. But there's a fair chance we face Lagavulin, and it's really nice in the sleeping phase to use Bash. It has 8 armor, so that does no damage, so it won't wake it up, but you can apply vulnerable for a hit next turn. Maybe I'm being a little optimistic, but I really want Fiend Fire to just go off. I think this is our... If we need to, like, kill something in one turn, which we basically do, this is our way to get it. I think I'm going to play this potion and see what we get. If we can get one of the enemies under 40, then we can one-shot them. And I thought that was worth considering. Oh, we have a double damage turn. So if we have a double damage turn, this is doing 80 right now. It will still do 40 if I use 2 defense. But I will also get the strikes out of our deck. If I use a strike, this is no longer double damage. Huh. Because I don't really want to remove 2 strikes and no defense from our deck. But we will make more attacks with anger. Okay, I'm going to take the 0 damage answer, but... Oh, what? I'm an idiot. I thought we had 4 mana. Alright, I'm gonna save scum here and just return to where we were. I know I said last video I didn't do that anymore, but I can't count, and we'll do this first turn exactly the same. Why did I think I could use 2 things? I don't know. So we're going to use 1 defend and Fiend Fire. Oh, but that's so dumb, because now I was burning 3 cards, so I could have taken out one of the higher HP ones. Alright, we're going to live with it. I'm an idiot. We're struggling already. Alright, apologies for that. That was very silly. Okay. So I want to block most of the damage, and we're going to be able to do at least 2 mana of attacking. It's not great 2 mana, like it would be better to do 2 strikes. The vulnerable won't hit his artifact. I'm going to go for this one, because it'll be a few turns before I kill something, but maybe there's a chance I can kill it before it comes back. I don't think so, though. Fiend Fire exhausts when you use it, right? So we can't do that again. But actually, this is a very good turn. So if we draw 3 attack cards, I guess we get to kill something next turn. I don't think there's any chance we do. Hey, turns out we only needed 2. Huh. Well, I was deeply wrong. Don't know why I used the defend, but it doesn't make any difference. Right. I don't like the end of Sentry Spikes because you just play whatever cards you get, and there's like no thinking about it. And it's nice when there's thinking. Anger is doing great here, though. Yeah, Anger really filled up our deck and made that much nicer. Alright. So, I think this is a pretty easy pick. Fire Breathing is interesting if we have a bunch of statuses and it lets us take statuses. I should also check what our boss is. Hexaghost. Ooh, Fire Breathing is very good against Hexaghost because it puts burns in our deck, and this gives us free damage for drawing them. Limit Break is good if we already have Strength Creation tools, but even then you gotta draw them in the right order. Power Through is just good. This is just so much block. The wounds kind of suck, but if we take this, we can take the next Fire Breathing we see. But I think you start with Power Through, the card that has, like, immediate useful impact. And now maybe we can take status cards down the road. We're still pretty full on HP, so if we upgrade Anger, it also upgrades every Anger we make. Shrug It Off, the upgrade's not that important. So I think it's between Bash, Power Through, and Anger. I think I'm going to go Bash. I like, if we get vulnerable on an enemy, I want it to last long enough it pays off. Let's go the 2 elite path. We're at high HP. Alright, that's nice for blocking. Right, we got Lagavulin. So I think I'll just bash, get it on them. We could use the strength potion here. I'd like to save it for the boss. I'm just gonna go for this. This is gonna be a much slower fight than these fights are with Watcher, so it's really nice if we can get some damage off. Well, we'll use Fiend Fire next time it comes around. Would have been nice to burn away the Ascender Bane thing. But actually, Fiend Fire plays well with Power Through because it gives us stuff to burn. And let's take the damage while they're still invulnerable. We only take 4 here. 40? 40 is pretty good. We're a bit away from a reshuffle. We haven't played an Anger yet. Oh, no, we have. Okay, so there are still Angers in our deck. Yeah, I'm just going to take the 40, I think. Ooh, no, I'm not. We're going to Anger, and then we're going to Fiend Fire because it's doubled. Hey, I noticed what Pendiv does for the first time. And then we're guaranteed, I think, yeah, I saw an attack in our pile, so we're guaranteed to get the kill next turn. Hey, I did something smart. What a miracle. Alright. Well, easy take. Okay, this is actually going, yeah, very well. So we've added 2 blocks, we've removed an attack, and we've added 3 pretty, like, 2 absolutely premium and 1 very good attack. So maybe I'd like 2 more attacks and 1 more good block by the end of the chapter. That would be really ideal. Okay, so that of course can kill stuff, but we could do stuff before it. Right, this, if we discard 2 things, kills anything. So let's hit you, block. Ooh, we do way overkill. That's alright. Yeah, the wounds play really well with Fiend Fire because they're just ammunition for it, right? Now here we didn't need the extra damage, but it's pretty nice. Right, we'll kill you, we'll block the other, and we'll remove your shields. We have 2 Fiend Fire. Man, this is my best start on this difficulty, I think. Got very lucky so far. This is not representative of me on this difficulty. Alright, I love Perfected Strike more than anything. We have already removed 1 strike. We are obviously not building for it, and I should give up on it. Rampage is just... like, if we saw 10 damage for 1, would we take it? I really want something else it was doing. And this is more often going to be 8 than 13, or 18. And I don't think dual wield is that great either. Like, what's the best thing to dual wield? Fiend Fire. But then what would you do? Use one of the Fiend Fires and exhaust the other. What are we doing here? I just don't think we have targets for these. Okay. Alright. I think we want to start by getting Bash up. And I also notice we have a 50% chance to draw Fiend Fire. If we bash and strike, then we're on 9 on Pendiv. And so if we draw Fiend Fire next turn, we win. Because we can do a bazillion damage. Alright, we didn't get it, but we are guaranteed to get it next turn. So if we power through and don't use an attack, then we won't take damage this turn. And we're guaranteed to draw it next turn, and we still get the multiple. Ooh, Pendiv is very good. We're doing work here. Wow. God, Fiend Fire is so good too. Alright. So we should be willing to go lower on HP, at least some of the time. Snecko Oil is interesting. Okay. So Barricade is for the block deck. spot weakness is for the strength deck, which can also be a sub theme of any deck. Like we'd appreciate, this going from 10 to 13 per hit is nice. And True Grit is interesting. When it upgrades, you can choose the card it exhausts. And so you can start, getting rid of things like the wounds and stuff like that. And that's kind of nice. I'm going to take a spot weakness. I like having a little bit of a strength sub theme. Right. I guess we start with Bash. And then Anger. Do I want to draw another card this turn that I'm not going to use? So I'd like it if it drew Ascender's Bane, because that would get rid of that. I wouldn't really like it if it drew a Fiend Fire. Let's just enter. This Fiend Fire, we can just hit them for 40. And that will interrupt their attack, because they'll split. Fiend Fire is so good. Alright, not the ideal spot for a second Fiend Fire. But we can spot Weakness. Doesn't quite get us the instant kill, but there's no way we're not going to draw something that works against this. Alright, that was pretty good. Alright, Flame Barrier is a nice block. And it's especially a nice block given we're facing Hexaghost, which does a 6 times attack. And so every time it hits us, this hits back for 4. So if it hits us 6 times, that's 24 back. Which is really nice. I've been looking for a decent block. We have added 2 blocks that are pretty good. So this is a third. We've added 3 attacks and 1 kind of utility. I haven't been adding as many attacks as I'd like, but I think Flame Barrier is good enough I should take it. And I'd really like to add more attacks. Because I don't really want to be drawing hands like this. I'm really tempted to play Snecko Oil and see more cards. I'm going to do that. Alright, well, we'll play the thing that's free. Could burn up the whole deck to do 1,000,000 damage to something, but I think this is not the way. 15 is, or 16 is most of the damage we're taking. It's not quite lethal on anything. I guess we just don't take damage. That was a bad turn. Don't like how that went down. Probably means I should have thought more of it. Okay, again, it's not really an amazing spot for Fiend Fire. What we could do is we could do 2 strikes. Ooh, okay, we're doubled now. Okay, we'll kill something. I guess we'll just kill something else and take 16. Ugh. Good thing we've been doing well till now. This is a tough fight, though. You always take some damage here. Okay, this covers all the damage threatened. It's nice. So let's do that. And then hit you. I hate being weakened. These are very annoying, but we don't really have... I'd rather get rid of the ones that are attacking me more. Not a ton of choices to make this turn. Still may have made them wrong. Nah, I don't like losing life going into the boss. I was hoping to use the campfire as a campfire. Nothing to do there. And let's end it in style. Okay. Warcry, I think, is pretty bad. Because you could say it replaces itself. It costs no mana to replace itself. But you're just drawing the card you would have drawn anyway. So, like, if you didn't have this in your deck, you would say Sword Boomerang was the next card. You'd just have drawn Sword Boomerang. And so you draw Sword Boomerang, and then you have to put a card from your hand on top of the pile. So you're going down a card. When you upgrade it, you're no longer going down a card, but I think it's just, like, pretty bad. And takes an upgrade to not be terrible. Sword Boomerang is nice if we can up strength. We do have one strength boost, so if we can land a spot weakness, this could be 6 times 3, which is already very good for 1. But I think Blood for Blood ends up just being the most efficient way to get good damage. We're going to take damage in combats that aren't trivial, and we're going to heal some of it back, but it's really nice. It can just be such a big hit for so cheap. I think this is just a very good card to pick up. So we've now picked up what I would describe as two absolutely great attacks, and 2 more that are pretty good, 3 pretty good blocks, and 1 utility. And we got lost in attack. I'd like to be a little more attack weighted than we are, but I think this is clearly going pretty well. Actually, we're basically fully healed, so we can smith. And this goes down to 3 cost, which is nice, because then it gets down to 1 or 0 quicker. This goes up to 4 attack. This starts doing 6 damage back, but I think I can't help myself. We're going to upgrade our other Fiendfire. Alright, Hexaghost time. I'm going to give myself the strength boost. Oh, I don't want to use a Fiendfire here. What an unpleasant hand. What an unpleasant hand. I could power through into Fiendfire, and it would do 12 times a lot. And I probably should, but I don't like that it burns up both my Fiendfires. But we're going to do it. And feel bad. That did 60. Couldn't even land it on the pen nib. We don't have any blockers the turn they... Well, this is going to make Blood for Blood 0 for the rest of the fight. But we might just die to Hexaghost here. Now, we do get a big strength boost, which is great. Let's up the strength boost even more. Now our strikes are doing 14 damage. I still feel bad about it. And we don't have our Fiendfire, so when they burn us, we can't get rid of it. Oh, this has gone so badly. May as well get them this. And we gotta kill them fairly quick, but now we don't have huge damage. But Blood for Blood helps, and they're vulnerable, so 39 is nothing to sneeze at. Yeah, okay, that was a huge turn. Alright, I now do feel like we're gonna win this pretty comfortably. Spot weakness is useless this turn. So we just had lethal because of vulnerable. And we really did up our strength a lot. Red Skull helped there. So okay, that could have been worse. Alright, Feed is one of the best cards you can get, because upping our max HP is just huge. But I see another card I really like. Okay, we're going to take Feed. This is a pretty early feed. We have a lot of time to try to just up our max HP. But obviously, I do love Fiendfire. Okay, interesting cards. Interesting relics. Tiny House is lots of little things, but none of them all that impactful. Extra relic per elite is really nice, but I'm scared of back 2 elites, and we might not take very many. Additional energy, but 2 extra wounds in our draw pile. But I think hopefully we'll have ways to exhaust them and use them with like Fiendfires. I'm gonna take this one. I like having the mana. I'm not sure, but I feel we have good cards for this to not hurt us too much. Okay. We don't need to take the shiny, so let's look where the elites are. There's a path of 3 where we have a campfire between 2 and some offshoots, and we could get a 4th if we were feeling great. Yeah, I guess I'll... The question is, do I want the merchant? We have 401 gold. I should go to the merchant. That would just be giving up value not to. Alright. We'll go to the merchant. So this is 80 damage because we're on pen nib. Alright, can't turn that down. Fiendfire, man. Pen nib doing such good work this run. Alright, that was a tough fight. Okay. Evolve is interesting. Because if you look at our deck, we have this, right? Does Evolve affect this? Yes. No, it's just status cards. Okay. So we have power through, but we have nothing else that's really making targets for this. Okay, I'm not that excited about it. There's a case for Evolve. I'm not... Yeah, I don't know that we can use the extra mana that well. Maybe we can. Status cards are dead. And we're putting 2 more statuses in because of this. Okay, let's try Evolve out. I've never really run this. I'm curious. Okay. Lots of stuff here to think about. I'm just going to highlight the things I think are interesting. Impervious is very good block. Hemokinesis is very good damage for 1 mana. Like I said, Clash, 14 damage for 1 is just not worth the effort. But this, you don't have to put in any effort to have. It does have a drawback, but it's just a lot of damage. This is really good for exhaust stuff. It just turns exhausting into a defense mechanism. I'm interested in Feel No Pain. I'm also interested in Vajra. +1 attack is just huge. I'm just going to click this one, I think. Abacus is really good if we can exhaust everything, because we can run through our deck so quickly. This is just 6 block a turn, which is kind of huge. Alright, I want to be optimistic. I'm going to take... but our deck's getting bigger. But we do Fiend Fire a lot. We've never really run our deck down. Okay, I'm going to take Feel No Pain. And I really want to take Abacus, but we could also start getting rid of strikes. And then we draw our better cards more. Yeah. Well, I think this is the disciplined pick. Not sure, though. We'll try that. I really didn't want to fight here. So these take half damage while they're in the air. They're kind of annoying for us to get out of the air, but Flame Barrier destroys them. So I didn't notice Flame Barrier at first. Let's just get up to 18 block or 19. And because they hit 6 times, God, what a good draw. Maybe I should have upgraded it with Blessing of the Forge, but yeah, it's just going to eat through them. What a great draw. Alright, Feed is now excellent. I'm going to use Shrug to get some block up. And then Fiend Fire takes out this one. Oh, this fight went amazing. We can just finish it. Drop kick. Okay, so Heavy Blade, because strength affects it 3 times, if we play a spot weakness, then the +3 strength is multiplied by 3, so it would do 23 for 2, which is nice, very nice, but not amazing, and 14 for 2 we'd not really play. Drop kick is intriguing because we can dream of infinites. And Shockwave is just really good, like, crowd control that says we're not going to die and we are going to get vulnerable enough. I'm going to take the drop kick. I'm not actually sure. I think Shockwave is a better card, but I want to take the drop kick today. Alright, we're not going to go for the shiny elite. I'm going to go... Okay, so I guess we start with Bash to get vulnerable. And maybe it's worth shrugging before striking in case we draw something better. But I don't know what we would have drawn that was better, so... Probably should have considered using items, but I don't think we should have to this fight. The Fiend Fire's 44. If we do 1 attack and then Fiend Fire, it's huge, but we do not have set attack. Alright, well, Flame Barrier guarantees we don't take damage. And we may as well fiend away the rest. Now, one thing you can try to do is win fights not when your pen nib is active, but win fights like trying to get the number up to like 7 or 8, so that the next fight you get the advantage of it. Alright, so we're gonna... Yeah. We're gonna try to kill them, like, not incredibly fast. But we should probably kill them here, because if I don't... If I use spot weakness, I can't kill them, so okay, we'll just Fiend Fire. I love Fiend Fire. What a great card. Are the upgrades relevant to us? There's a lot of stuff we could upgrade happily. Not sure Swift Potions. Yeah, let's leave it. Okay. Second Wind. So Body Slam is for the block deck. True Grit is for the exhaust deck, but I like it upgraded. Second Wind is the Fiend Fire of blocks. I think that's worth taking, even if that's not as good. And we're at full health. Let's think about the double leap path. Right, we're just gonna take the gold. I've never taken the line. It might actually be quite good. Like you could imagine this really going off in a run, but I'm just gonna take the gold. Someday I should try that. Okay, I hate this fight. I'm gonna use items because I hate this fight. Oh, I should have used this after so it would get upgraded. Ah, that was dumb. Alright, Demon Form, if it's free, is huge. And let's spot weakness, flame barriers, we don't take a hit, and get some damage on them. But this is always such a tough race. They just up how many times they hit you so much. Right, whenever card's exhausted, gain 3 block. So maybe we play this and then Fiend Fire. Because we've upped our strength, it's doing 17 per. And we get a bunch of block out of that too, which is nice. We will take damage here. We will take some wounds, but maybe we can Fiend Fire them away or evolve. So Fiend Fire is 19 times 4. That won't kill. Are they vulnerable? No. Do I want to evolve and then Fiend Fire? Or just go for it? Because if you look at our deck, we only have 1 wound in the deck right now. Okay, let's just Fiend Fire. And that creates good block. That's actually, we're going pretty well. Ooh. So bash, feed. I thought we had to set up feed, but we've upped our strength quite a lot this fight. Okay. Alright, we did use a lot of potions. Exhume. Get back a Fiend Fire? I can't turn that down. I can't turn that down. Alright, we got the heal from Eternal Feather. That's great. So what are we upgrading? There's no more Fiend Fires to upgrade. What does Evolve upgrade to? Draw 2 cards? Interesting. Gain 4 block. Free. Okay. Kind of like that free. Yeah, I'm going to go this. I really like when it changes the cost. Makes it much easier to insert into whatever you're doing. Slavers is tough. Okay. I want to draw 3 more. I don't like this starting hand. Okay. So we could kill something. Now, if we kill, we don't get to exhume it, and we won't get to feed. But I think that's okay. We don't need to feed every match. So I think I'm going to get Evolve up, and then Fiend Fire will do 55. We can take out the biggest threat. And then the fight should be fairly manageable. And we made a fantastic amount of block there. Okay. Alright, so this is a very defensive turn. I don't really want to draw because I don't want to draw my Fiend Fire. I want to land it. So, but I do want to get to 21 block. I don't want to play Power Through. Okay, guess we are playing this. Alright, so Fiend Fire would kill something. But Fiend Fire would do 44. So if we spot weakness, that will up Fiend Fire as well. So this will still lethal. Yeah, but we got to up our attack. Ooh. This is probably the best I've done with an exhaust deck. Alright, we can use the pen nib, and let's exhaust all these, thin our deck, and make a bazillion block. Wow, we really did make a bazillion block. really have attacks, so I hope we still have attacks in our deck. That's not a good hand. But we had evolve. That helped us not draw horribly. Okay, so I guess, and we'll just exhaust everything. Actually, we may as well make 2 more wounds and then exhaust the wounds. That way we keep power through in our deck. That's a lot of block. That's even more block. What do we have left in our deck? Okay, we do have attacks left. Alright, I was getting worried that, like, the last 3 damage were going to be hard. Whenever you exhaust a card, deal 3 damage to all enemies. That's sweet. Oh, that's so good for us. I like Chemokinesis. I think seeing red is harder to fit in than it looks like, but it does exhaust. And exhausting is now a value in itself. Yeah, so I guess it's just seeing red. Chemokinesis is a better card for sure. Alright, happy to gain block. I think we can take another elite. We're in good shape. We don't have any potions, but we're still doing well. Alright, I do hate this one. Okay. I think we exhaust this. We make some wounds. And we second wind. No, we should play at least 1 strike. Do we want to play both strikes? Do I want to be exhausting strikes? Probably should be exhausting strikes. Okay, I didn't really think this through. Why do we still have a strike? Oh, it exhausts all non-attacks. Okay, so we couldn't exhaust the strike. Cool, I can read. It's important to be able to read, and I definitely can do so. Okay, I think this is just a defend turn. You don't really want to defend against this one too much because it really ramps up fast. But we do some counter damage. Guess this is a Fiend Fire. Shame to lose speed, but that's a lot of damage. We do take a big hit though. So we start with this. Let's play out the hand. 28. Ugh. Alright, this is our worst fight. You can see why I was scared of this the last time. Just gonna look before I Fiend Fire whatever I get. Just gonna burn up a wound again because I think it's entertaining. Alright, well, at least we'll... Wait, why aren't we... Okay, we did kill it. Okay, cool. I didn't actually count whether that killed it, because I've been forgetting about the extra damage from this. Dropkick hasn't been amazing for us. I think we'll just pass here. Our deck's pretty good, actually. Like, aside one tough fight, this has been going well. I really... Okay, we're going to use 1, and now this is doubled. So we can kill. Maybe we could have used one more thing, and it would have still killed. I didn't think it did, but I forgot about the extra damage from this. Okay, this is a good turn, because we can bring back a Fiend Fire, and we have a huge hand. I think it's best to vulnerable, and then this should be lethal. I'm not going to count, but I think it's huge overkill. Yeah. Okay, Headbutt's always good because it gets a card you want. I think I'm going to take another Feel No Pain, though. If every time we are exhausting things we gain a million block, how do we lose? We run out of Fiend Fires. We take another elite. We go to the shop. I'm gonna go to the shop. No thank you. Getting a little scared of elites. Okay, well this is a garbage hand. We do what we can. Wait, but why did we do 3 to everything? What exiled? Oh, Ascender's Bane exiled. Okay. This is not a great hand either. Alright, I'm gonna see what we get. I would like the block, please. Can we get Fiendfire before I die? No. Okay, well, we're gonna feed on this. That's 3 healing. That's something. I'm gonna draw into a Fiendfire. Or not. Alright, I'm gonna draw into a... No, this will run out of mana. Do I Flame Barrier? Second Wind is probably... Second Wind I don't take damage. So, okay, well, Second Wind. And that does damage, because I keep forgetting about this card. This card's doing work. And that was a lot of block. And now we'll get a Fiendfire on Pen's Nib, which will kill one of them, but not the other. I guess block 2, and then kill this. Oh, and because of the exhaust, that will block the rest. Cool. I keep forgetting all the synergies. Man, this deck is better than I think. Keep underestimating what it can do. We can take a Wild Strike. The wounds are kind of nice at this point. That's real damage. Or at least the wounds are not that depressing. I don't think we need another Shrug. Okay. Fire Breathing is kind of interesting. Every time we use a potion, we don't have potions. Alright, let's make the deck smaller. Defend this time? Let's get rid of a defense. Yeah. I like small decks. That's what I'm used to. We should probably heal here. Just gonna quickly take a look. Yeah, let's just heal. This is, for me, a very good run on this difficulty, and we're gonna be safe. Alright, what's happening in my phone? Okay. Nothing too bad. Alright, this does nothing right now. So I guess we just punch him a few times and don't use our feed because we're optimists who think we can land the killing blow with it. Okay. Feel No Pain is good to get up. And I guess we just bash. Because even if it doesn't do damage, it's nice to have them. Yeah. We're going to draw a Fiendfire. Okay. So I think I do want to get Evolve up. I think I want to get Angers in the deck. And maybe now we Fiendfire. Yeah. God, seeing that much damage is fun. Alright, we only have one more Fiendfire. So, okay, let's get the other Feel No Pain up. But none of this is relevant right now. They're not attacking. We'll just pass, I guess. Alright, I do not want to use the Fiendfire here. So I'm just going to bash and strike and pass. Because I want the Fiendfire. In the second phase, he gets stronger, and I don't want that to go badly. another anger. Maybe I do use another Fiend Fire. Maybe I could have gotten it on the pen nib. That would have been good. Kind of don't want to burn Second Wind because I think that's going to be an important blocker, but okay. That was a pretty good block, though. Alright, so we only have one Fiend Fire left. So we're going to have to do a lot of damage the slow way. Let's play a proper slow turn. Okay, Blood for Blood is nice damage. Vulnerable is worn off. Maybe we can draw a Bash. Alright, traditional way of doing damage, slow. So now they're over halfway dead, so they're buffing. So we will be using... Spot Weakness is never lined up. I think they'll get rid of this debuff, but I'm not 100% sure, so we might as well use it. And... yeah, they did. 66. Okay, so definitely got to power through. Oh, jeez, I wasn't paying attention to pen nib. I'm just going to take the damage from feed. I'm not going to try to line this up. And that does exhaust something, so it's a little protection. They don't use Execute, I think, anymore after this, but they're still doing a lot of damage. And we have no... okay, we need to use Seeing Red to exhaust it. We're still dead this turn. Yeah, I wish I had potions. You just die this turn. Huh. Well, that was a pretty good run. I'm sure I screwed this fight up really badly. I'm not entirely sure when or how. It's possible that I should have, that my mistake was here at the shop, because I didn't pick up any potions there and I was empty. I had no sense of how dangerous this fight was because I haven't played this deck much and I'm not really comfortable on the Ironclad. And so maybe I should have seen no potions and freaked out and taken some tools. Yeah, we just die here. Alright, well, that was a pretty good run. I enjoyed it. And I think it's representative of where I am right now as an Ironclad player. Anytime I show a win, I'm not winning half my games on, at any of these high ascensions. So, like, any win is obviously lucky. Any loss is technically a little unlucky because I'm not going to lose every time, but is, like, mostly representative. And a run that goes, a decent chunk in, some stuff seems to be working. I don't understand some other stuff. I make some pretty clear mistakes. I think that's a pretty representative sample of where I am. So I like Ironclad. I was kind of getting hopeful this run. I'm a little disappointed it went down like this, but yeah, fun run. The exhaust mechanics are pretty powerful, and this was the closest I've gotten to getting them working well for me, largely because Fiend Fire is great, and so if you get two of them immediately, it's going to work better for you.